Advertising is not an expense for your business, it's an investment. And I've been talking about advertising and treating advertising expenditure as an investment. In today's video, we are going to look at how this investment, when you start advertising every month or every day or every week consistently over the next few years, how this pays off just like a real investment or any other investment in the world would, and how it compounds and what the implications are. My name is Lakshay Behl. I have a bad throat. This is Westernston. Here we talk about systemizing the operations of your business so that you're building business equity. And of course, when you're talking about business equity, you cannot talk about business equity without talking about brand equity. So that's also what we talk about here. And advertising is a key component of that if you're going to survive over the long term. Advertising has a lot of challenges, and those are the challenges we tackle here. But today we are talking about why you need to start advertising now. Why now is the time to start advertising and not 2 years or 3 years or 4 years down the line. Why now is the best time to start advertising. And if you start today as opposed to 5 years down the line, you can save a ton of money as well as a ton of time to grow your brand. Let's get started. So I'm going to pull up Microsoft Excel and I'm going to show you my screen. My screen's right here, so you can see my screen while I work on it. And I'm going to pull up Microsoft Excel. I'm going to show you how that works. So let's say, by the way, the first thing you have to understand about investment is that it compounds. So let's say you found a way to safely invest your money, any amount of money, and then you found a way to get 30% returns on your investment. Now, of course, 30% may sound huge, and it may be huge for the vast majority of people out there. Most people don't see a 30% return on their investments, of course, but you can get that. And this is just a hypothetical example, and the numbers would change. But if you found a way to invest just $2 a week, every single week for the rest of your life, for the next 30 years, into a fund that produces 30% a year, by the way, it is doable. You just have to really know what you're doing as an investor. Then at the end of the 30 years, how much do you think you would have in your portfolio with just that $2 per week investment? Well, first of all, let's look at how much money you would have put in. So $30 a week is $2 a week is about $104 a year, given that there are approximately 52 weeks in a year, and $104 a year over 30 years is a little over $3,120. So you would have invested a little bit over $3,120 out of pocket. But your portfolio with the 30% annualized net annualized rate of return would have become larger than $1 million. That is correct. From $3,000 out of your pocket to $1 million. Now, of course, 30% is very aggressive. So maybe you get only 15% and you get 200,000 out of it or 100,000 out of it because your returns are much lower. Either way, would you rather have $100,000 at the end of 30 years or not? By just putting out $2 a week. That's a buck out of your pocket every Saturday and Tuesday, and you wouldn't even notice, right? So that's the power of compounding. That's why Einstein said that compounding is the most powerful force in the universe, because it's exponential, it grows exponentially. And that's what we're going to talk about here. So let's say you don't have a lot of money, you only have 10 bucks a day. That's what you can spare as a business owner. By the way, if you cannot even spare 10 bucks a day for advertising, then maybe you shouldn't be in business right now. Maybe you should find another way to make money right now so that you have a little bit of capital to get started with, right? So we're going to say that your investment is just $10 a day or $300 a month. Okay, so let's say $300 a month, right? And I'm going to create this. I'm going to create some columns here, as you're going to see. So month, and then leads. So now let's talk about leads. The first thing you have to do is, when you're doing paid media of any sort, when you're spending money on advertising, it's paid media. There's three kinds of media: paid media, earned media, and owned media. Paid media is where you pay money to get visibility, to get attention, to get exposure. You can pay for exposure, you cannot pay for attention. Attention is something that you have to earn yourself, even if you're paying for exposure. So you can pay for exposure, but you cannot pay for attention. Attention is a very limited commodity. It's the most expensive commodity in the world today. We've done some calculations about that. And it's the most expensive commodity in the world today. On an average, people spend 4 seconds on your website, just 4 seconds. And if you're spending $1 to get them to your website, then you're effectively spending $900 for 1 hour of attention that people pay to your website if they're just spending 4 seconds. Now, of course, your job as an advertiser would be to spend less money to get people to your website if you're doing an e-commerce business of any kind, and then getting them to stay on your website and pay attention to the content on your website for a longer duration of time than 4 seconds. But on an average, people spend less than 4 seconds on your website. And if you're spending $1 to get someone to your website, and the averages hold true for you, then you're spending $900 per hour of your audience's attention. So attention is a very, very expensive commodity. It's a very valuable commodity right now. And that is why I'm telling you, the first order of business when you're using paid media, right, is to turn that paid media into owned media. So get people to opt in, get people to like you or subscribe you, or at least place a cookie on their browser, so that, and this is not going to work 100% of the times. Actually, nothing works 100% of the times. But if you place a cookie on their browser, that you can then go on and show them ads for the next 6 months or 12 months, or in some cases even longer than a year, right? You can continue to follow them all over the internet. And that is going to be really important, because I'm going to talk to you about how those numbers matter. So the first order of business is to turn that paid media into owned media. Owned media is like having your own following. So if you have a list of prospects that you can send out a letter to, or if you have a list of people that you can call, customers and clients, previous clients who are okay with you calling them and whom you can call, then that is owned media, because that is, well, you are paying for attention. Why not pay for the attention of the people who already know you, like you, trust you, and have already bought from you, have spent money with you, and have a greater propensity to spend money with you, right? So the first order of business is to take that paid media and convert it into owned media. Let's say you have to spend $20 to get a lead, right? So $20 per lead is your cost of acquiring paid media, or converting paid media into owned media. That's the first order of business. So in the first month, you're spending $300, and you're dividing that by $20. So that's 15 leads. That's the number of leads you get each and every month with just $300 worth of advertising, right? So you're getting a lead every other day. That's the number you're looking at. That's okay. That may not sound like a very impressive number, but this is going to become more and more impressive as we dig deeper into this whole philosophy. By the way, these numbers are numbers that are not necessarily true for your business. These are numbers that are very close to my own business, but your numbers might be wildly different. And I'm going to link this Excel sheet in the description below, so that you can download it and then you can edit it to have, or to reflect your own numbers, right? So we're going to look at the total leads, and here we're going to put in the attrition rate. And for my own business, the attrition rate is about 5%. So 5% of the people leave my list, or unsubscribe from my list, or just disappear from my list every single year, right? 5%. So that's 5% a year. When you convert 5% a year into monthly, it's simply going to be, actually, I'm going to leave it at 5% here. I'm going to say converting annual into monthly is simply a matter of using this formula. So all you have to do is, if you're using this sheet and if you don't understand this, don't worry about it. All you have to do is just change that 5% to whatever your attrition rate is. That's your annual attrition rate, or the rate of drop off annually, right? And in our case, the monthly rate would be 0.407%. So if you change this to simply 10%, then the number is 0.797%. But in our case, it's 5%. So enter your annual attrition rate in D2, and in D3, you're going to see your monthly attrition rate. Since we're doing a calculation on monthly basis, we need the monthly attrition rate here. Then that's your total leads. So now we're going to talk about sales, okay? A certain percentage of your leads become clients. In our case, 3% of our leads, 3% of all the people on our list annually become clients. So of 100 people on our list, we communicate with them every single day, right? Or every single week, very regularly over the course of a year, through email, through banner advertising, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, right? However we can communicate with them, we do. And then 3% of those prospects become clients, paying clients. And that's annually again. So we're going to convert that into monthly. In this case, again, whatever your conversion rate is, enter the annual conversion rate on top, and you'll have the monthly conversion rate at the bottom, and that's your sales number, right? So in this case, since this is the first month, it's going to be 15 leads. And then if you're looking at the sales numbers, actually we are going to make these whole numbers, so don't worry about the formula. These things will work out on their own. All you have to do is change the numbers in the second column, and I'm going to give you the Excel sheet to do that. So quotient of this multiplied by this and 1. So obviously in the very first month we get 0 sales because we don't have that many leads, and that is fine. And the profit per sale here is for us, it's actually about 2,500. So the total profit here is going to be, for that month, for the very first month, is going to be 2,500, which is $0 for the very first month, right? Now for the second month, this we can just extend by a formula, right? So for the second month, we again spend $300 in advertising, and again we get 15 leads, but this time we only have again turning these into a whole number. Turning these numbers into a whole number is kind of important, so that's what we are doing here. So we have only 29 leads. One person just basically went on and unsubscribed, and we continue to do this for a while. Okay, we continue to have 0 sales for a while, but now I'm going to make a little change here. What I'm going to say is that my advertising budget is this plus this. So I'm adding back all the profits, right? If I make any profit, I want to add that back to the advertising investment the following month, because I'm going to treat this as an investment, because I'm treating this whole advertising campaign as a long-term investment thing going on for me. Okay, so what you're going to notice is for a while we're going to have absolutely no sales, and something bad happened here, right? I missed the formula here. Let me fix that for you quickly. Okay. Right, so for the first 2 years, we've had no sales whatsoever because the conversion rate is so low. That's okay, don't worry about it. You continue doing this for a while. And I don't even know if this is going to become profitable at any point of time, but it does, right? So in the third year, we start generating sales. Why? Because my personal conversion rates are so low, it takes a long time for a prospect to become a client. From a client, once we have clients, it's really helpful that our clients are really sticky, so they continue to work with us over and over again. The newest client I have started working with me in 2016, so I haven't had the ability to, or Westernston has not had the ability to accommodate a new client since 2016. We're working on that. If you're a small business owner, we can work with you in the near future, hopefully. We're working on rectifying that. We're hiring new people and training new people, but for now it really helps that when we look at the $2,500 profit, that's not actually the lifetime value of our client. That's just the first transaction we have with them. So what we're talking about is making the very first transaction profitable. Okay, so now you have to understand, by this point of time I've only spent how much? Less than $10,000. Okay, my total investment, let's put it this way, is equal to okay, let's put it this way, out of pocket. Let's create a new column. So out of pocket is simply $300 a month, right? So the very first month, the total out of pocket was 300, and the second month it was 600, and in the 35th month it was just $10,500. So we've only spent $10,500 by this point of time, and we're not spending a whole lot more. And by the way, we could stop investing any more money in this project at this point of time. We don't need to spend any more money, but if we do invest, it just basically accelerates the curve. So I'm going to show you how that works out. So this is on this is end of year 3. Now by the end of year 3, you're getting 12 sales a month, and this continues to compound. Okay, you've only invested. So notice what happens in the 36th month. Let me highlight that for you. So in the 36th month, now you've already begun seeing some profits out of it. Now to some people, this might sound very scary that you're not going to have any sales for the first few months, and that's okay because you're building an audience here. I was looking at a video by Graham Stephen, and this guy is a 29-year-old millionaire, self-made millionaire who started with real estate and started posting videos on YouTube and now is making about $45,000 a week. I'm going to put a link to that video for your consumption. You should definitely check that out. But he talks about how things in the beginning were not so peachy. He started out with just, tiny revenues of $1 a day, and now that has completely compounded, and that is the essence of compounding.
So with that said, here are the totals to how much money I made this week, and with everything included, it comes to $45,263.37. Now keep in mind that the income I make today was highly dependent on all the work I put in 3 years ago, and without all of that work, none of this would be where it is today or anywhere close to this. Back then, I was doing the exact same work that I am doing today, except back then 3 years ago, if I was making even $1,500 in a month, that was a really amazing month, and that works out to be $375 in a week for context of this video. That was also in addition to me working full-time as a real estate agent, so needless to say, for the first few years of making YouTube videos, I did not have much of a life. I really want to clarify this because I don't want people seeing such a large number without stepping back and understanding that there was a lot of work that went on behind the scenes for years without earning even a fraction of that to get to the point where it is today.
So notice what happens in the 36th month. In the 36th month, you've only just invested $300 out of your own pocket, right? In the 36th month. But you have now $7,500 coming in from the profits from the newly acquired clients. Now, remember, you get to keep all the back-end profits. This is just the first profit that you make from the very first transaction you have with a new client. Just the very first, okay? Let's bring this down to the fourth year now. Actually, this should not be highlighted. So, at the end of 4 years, this is what happens. Okay? Now, in this fourth year, you're playing with $182,000 for a monthly advertising budget. That's what you're doing. You're playing with $182,000 for your monthly advertising budget, even though your total investment by this point of time, total from the beginning, from the very beginning, is just $14,400. You're still continuing to do the $300 a month. And by the way, if you stop doing the $300 a month, that would still be fine. Things wouldn't have changed that drastically, although I would continue to say, or I would recommend that you do that. But still, things don't change that wildly. Okay, so if you just stop investing after 3 years, if you invest just $10,800 out of your pocket and then you stopped investing any longer, okay, you refuse to invest any more money or refuse to put any more money out of your own pocket into this campaign, it would still be fine. It's the beginning investments that count and make all the difference. And thereafter, once this thing snowballs, once you hit what some would call the tipping point, right, then this thing takes care of itself. The revenues from the profit from the very first transaction that you have with your new clients is going to take care of all the expenses that you have, and it's going to snowball and skyrocket. And we can extend this as much as we want now. Let's look at what happens in 10 years, okay? Assuming you continue to invest everything you make from the very first transaction, not all the transactions, just the very first transaction, back into your advertising campaign. So let's scale it up to 12 years. Actually, you're going to be really surprised, okay? Because Excel is not very happy with this. There's not enough money in the world is basically where I'm going with this, okay? You can stop at any point of time. Here, after 5 years, you could say, that's enough. I'm okay with spending $1 million a month. Or here, at 55th month, you could say, I'm okay with spending $1 million a month in advertising. That's all I really need to spend, and everything else I make on top of that, I'm going to keep for myself. So let's see what that would mean for you. So here, you're simply going to say 1 million, okay? And now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new column called balance or withdrawal. So now, not only are you making money on the back end, you start making money on the front end. For the first 3 years, you just sacrifice and continue to invest just $10 a day or $300 a month. Then, after the 5th year, or sometime within the 5th year, let's say 5.5 years down the line, from the 5th month onwards, you start withdrawing anything you make over $1 million from the very first transaction on the front end, okay? So you're separating the front end and the back end. The front end is different, the back end is different. Whatever you make on the back end, you keep. But for the very first transaction you have with the client, with a new client, right? Very first transaction, that's what we are calling the front end. That's the only consideration we have in this Excel sheet. You're going to keep redeploying all the money back into your business, into buying more paid media and then converting more of that paid media into own media, and then continuing to convert those people or convert those prospects into clients. And here's what happens. Once you reach, let's say your target is to advertise $1 million a month or continue to advertise for $1 million a month, all you have to do is take out whatever your surplus is out of it, and then, is that a million? Yeah. No, that's not a million. This is a million. Okay, so you take out $107,000 on the 55th month or the 54th month, right? And then thereafter, you're left with $1 million. You reinvest $1 million, you get 50,000 leads, and you make this much money and this many sales and so on and so forth, right? So this is the total size of your list, by the way. Look at the total size of your list. By this time, you already have 225,000 people or 250,000 people on your list. So you have a great deal of influence. This is real owned media. Remember how we started with what? 15 leads, and it made no difference whatsoever, or no impact whatsoever for the first 3 years, because your list was so small that you wouldn't even get one sale. Okay, your very first sale came in after 2.5 years, and yet it starts skyrocketing. Okay, you don't even have to continue to invest from your own pocket for a lot longer than once you start getting consistent sales. So you start getting consistent sales in the 30th month, and we stopped investing in the 36th month, and that was okay. You didn't have to invest any longer. But keep in mind, you've only invested $10,800 into your whole business so far, into your whole advertising campaign so far. And while if I tell you go ahead and invest $10,800 in your business right now, you might say, that's a huge investment, I cannot do that. What you can do is $10 a day. Okay, and you don't have to invest $10,800 in one day. You can do that over the course of 3 years. And that's where all the power is. You let all of these things compound for you. Now, this part right here is going to be a lot of hard work. It's going to be an enormous amount of hard work for you. You're going to be putting in money. You're going to be putting in effort. You're going to be developing systems. You're going to be developing marketing, follow-up campaigns, campaigns to talk to your clients, campaigns to talk to your prospects, campaign to talk to the people who have come to your website but are not really ready to opt in. So you're going to have some remarketing campaigns for that. And there might be some overhead here as well. So instead of spending $300 a month, you might be spending $400 a month, just to optimize things and to test things out. But again, this is a very simple explanation of what happens when you continue to redeploy all of that money back into your business. Okay, so all you have to do is, so now you're ready to sit pretty at $100,000 a month, or in my case, $1 million a month, right? My ultimate goal is to spend $1 million a month in advertising. Of course, this is not really scalable for me because I cannot possibly handle 400 clients a month. That would be ridiculous. We really cannot even handle 10 clients right now. So I would have to have systems. Basically, we are constrained by the supply side, not the demand side. Okay, and of course, I'm not saying that you can continue to spend $1 million a month indefinitely. Eventually, you reach a point where you've reached every single person that you want to reach. But by that point, you have a different set of problems. Your problems are not the same as the problems that you have right now. Okay, right now your problem is that you don't have enough visibility. People don't know who you are. They don't care about your brand. Your brand has no strength. Your brand has no reputation, so on and so forth. Those are the problems that you have right now. And that's okay. You can solve that, and all it takes is $10 a day. What can $10 a day do for you? It can change your life enormously. Okay, if I were to be able to create a program where I could take $2,500 a month consistently, $2,500, not a month, just a one-time $2,500 profit from each client, and if I had no back-end program, even then I would become a multi-millionaire just doing this with just $10 a day. Okay, you could do this part-time. Of course, it would take a lot of time, right? A lot more time than money, because $10 a day is very easy to make and spend, but it would take a lot of time because you're developing all sorts of systems. You have no idea what you're talking about. You have no voice right now. So instead of 3 years, it might take 4 years. Okay, but you're going to learn very, very quickly if you start spending $10 a day on advertising starting today. So do that. Start converting paid media into owned media. Start doing a very small advertising campaign, whether it's on Facebook or banners or YouTube. You got to do an advertising campaign. Online advertising is not the best thing right now. Why? It's so expensive. And yet, I would tell you to start with online advertising. Why? Because the barrier to entry is so low. You can get started with 10 bucks a day. Absolutely. There are so many platforms that allow you to do this. If you have a slightly bigger budget, you're going to get there faster and you're going to achieve your goals faster. So anyways, I just wanted to show you what would happen if you just wanted to stick to $1 million a month worth of advertising. Okay. And that's all you want to do. And by the way, these numbers scale exponentially so fast, it's going to make your head spin. Look at that. You would be withdrawing. This is withdrawal. So this is the surplus. So you made, let's say in the 73rd month, you made $6.672 in profit. You want to just take $1 million out of that and redeploy that towards advertisement, and you would get to keep $5.6 million. Again, these are numbers on an Excel sheet and you can play around with this, but this is the power of compounding. So if your big challenge in life, in business, is going to be to stay consistent through this period, this is going to be your pain period, the first 3 years. These are your pains. This is your big pain in life. If you can deal with this, and if you can get through this and you can stay consistent getting through this, then beyond that, everything is just peachy. Okay? You don't put anything in after the 3rd year. You start withdrawing 18 months later. And you start withdrawing big, giant sums of money. There is no other investment in the world that is as powerful as being able to take paid media and convert that into owned media. Because with your own media, you can talk to them every single day. If you have someone on your email list, you can send out an email to them every single day. That is not recommended. We're going to talk about timing in another video, of course. But that is definitely something you could do. Emails are basically free. If you just, rent any modern or pay for or subscribe to any modern software-based autoresponder or software as a service-based autoresponder, you're paying for the number of people on your list, not for the number of emails you send out to them, for the most part, whether it's ActiveCampaign or Drip or something like that. And if you're paying for the email, if you have some in-house service and you're using some sort of SMTP service like Amazon Simple Email Service, then you're paying chump change. I think it was 10 cents for 1,000 email or 1 cent for 1,000 emails, something like that. It's really, really cheap. So it's less than a tenth of a cent to send out an email. So it's basically free, right? You wouldn't even spend 50 cents on someone that you spent $20 to acquire. You're spending $20 to get a new lead. Well, you might as well spend another $1 over the course of the next year to make sure that they continue to follow you. They continue to hear from you. They continue to invest in you, even if it's just 30 seconds or 20 seconds of time at a time, at one particular point of time. I hope that made sense. So anyways, yeah, thanks for watching this video, and you're going to be able to download this Excel sheet. You're going to see the link in the description below, and make sure you start advertising today. Here's what happens if you don't start now. If you start 1 year later, well, the first thing is that the cost of leads is going to go up by 20 or 30%. Okay, so instead of spending $20, you'll be spending $25. So those numbers change drastically and you end up investing for a longer period of time. Okay, instead of 3 years, you're going to probably end up investing for 4 years, right? That's the first thing that happens. The second thing that happens is that you're not going to be able to withdraw for a longer period of time. And the third thing that happens is it's going to take a lot longer to achieve your goals. But the fastest way to achieve your goals here or in business is going to be starting advertising today and focusing on converting paid media into owned media. I cannot stress this enough. If you have a YouTube channel and if you think, or if you look at someone else who has a YouTube channel and millions of followers and you think they've got it easy, well, trust me, something is going to happen to YouTube sooner or later that is going to knock them off their pedestal, and they're going to have nothing unless they are working on actively converting that social media or earned media, right? That's earned media into what I call owned media. People that you have contact details of and people that you can communicate with at your own pace. Whenever you have a message for them, you can just relay that message out. That is owned media. And that is the first order of business. You should be creating own media. If you have a profitable business and if you're not collecting leads or if you're not collecting information of your clients and customers, you are walking away from so much money I cannot even begin to tell you right now. Okay? Just one extra sale per year from all of your clients is going to be a night and day difference. You cannot even do the numbers from that right now. Of course, you can download the sheet and check out the numbers for your own self and play with these numbers. Maybe your profit is a bit lower, or maybe your profit is a lot lower, but your sales conversions ratios are a lot higher. Maybe the cost per lead is a lot lower. I don't know anything about your business, so you got to figure that out on your own. But what I do know is that for a $10,800 investment, if I can make $1 million a month, there's nothing else in the world like that, right? So my challenge right now with Westernston is to figure out a way to handle the supply side of things so that we can actually take on 500 or 1,000 new clients every single month and actually give them or provide to them the deliverables that they would be paying us $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 for. If we can do that, then on the marketing side, there really is no challenge, because we can always take paid media and compound that, simply because we are treating an advertising expense as not an expense, but as an investment into the business. Thanks for watching this video. My name is Lakshay Behl. This is Westernston. Here we talk about systemizing your operations, which is the work that I'm doing for Westernston right now. We are systemizing our operations, but also we help our clients systemize their operations. And we are also working on building brands, which is what this video was all about. The financial side of building brands for just $10 a day.